Have you ever felt like you're living a full life, yet somehow still feel empty inside? Full of things, full of tasks, full of distractions, but strangely empty of peace, purpose, and inner silence. Japan, one of the most technologically advanced countries in the world, has also faced this modern conflict between excess and essence more intensely than most. And it was precisely in that tension that something powerful was born: Japanese minimalism, a quiet philosophy of life, but one that transforms everything. And that's exactly what I'm going to show you today. The 6 habits that minimalist Japanese people have learned to eliminate in order to live with more clarity, serenity, and a deeper sense of fulfillment. And when we say eliminate, we're not just talking about cutting something out. We're talking about a shift in mindset, replacing autopilot with awareness. Chances are, you're carrying around 1 or 2 of these habits right now without even realizing how much they're draining your mental energy, your emotional well-being, and your ability to be fully present in the here and now. By the end of this video, you'll see that living simply isn't about having less. It's about living more purposefully, more lightly, and more truthfully. Habit 1. The fear of being alone. Among all modern habits, perhaps the quietest, and at the same time the loudest within us, is the fear of being alone. It's that uncomfortable feeling that creeps in when there's no one around, when the notifications stop coming, when the phone doesn't ring, when the world seems to forget we exist. This fear hides behind a constant need for connection, the urge to always be surrounded, to fill the silence with voices, screens, and distractions. But in Japanese minimalism, there's a powerful mindset shift. Solitude isn't a burden, it's a source of strength. Minimalist Japanese individuals don't run from solitude. On the contrary, they embrace it as a sacred space for self-discovery. They understand that true inner clarity only comes when the noise dies down. You can't hear your own soul when everything around you is cluttered, not just with things, but with people, conversations, and opinions. That's why the habit of avoiding solitude is broken with simplicity and courage. Instead of rushing to escape the quiet, they sit in it. Instead of seeking company at all costs, they sink deeper into their own presence. And in that silence, they discover something priceless. Being alone doesn't mean being empty, it means being whole. Letting go of the fear of being alone doesn't mean cutting yourself off from the world. It means learning how to become your own companion. It's about recognizing the difference between loneliness and solitude. One hurts, the other heals. One disconnects you, the other reconnects you. Japanese minimalists teach that it's in those quiet, solitary moments where the truest ideas are born, where the most honest decisions are made, and where the deepest insights arise. It's in the absence of others that we finally see ourselves clearly and begin to truly listen with the respect we've always deserved. Living with lightness and purpose requires a specific kind of courage. The courage to be with yourself. No masks, no distractions, no need for validation. The habit of running from solitude turns us into anxious seekers, always chasing something outside of ourselves for reassurance. But the practice of solitude, as the Japanese minimalists show us, brings us back to our center. It restores our calm, our focus, our freedom. Because in the end, there is no presence more powerful than someone who has learned to be at peace in their own company. Habit 2. The illusion of total control. One of the first habits that Japanese minimalists learn to let go of, while so many of us still cling to, is the need to control everything. It's the illusion that if we organize every detail, if we plan every step, if we anticipate every possible risk, then and only then we'll finally feel at peace. But the truth is, the more you try to control, the more you live in tension, because deep down, you know there are things that simply aren't in your hands. Japanese culture understands something we often resist. Impermanence is part of life, and instead of fighting it, they've learned to embrace it. They don't see the unexpected as the enemy, but as a natural part of the path. Life, to them, isn't something to control. it's something to flow with. And the moment you begin to apply that mindset, something profound shifts within you. You begin to let go. And when you let go, you begin to breathe. This obsession with control shows up in the smallest areas of life. The desire for a flawless home, a perfect routine, a calendar packed with goals and deadlines, relationships that follow a script, emotions managed like a checklist. But the cost of all that is high: anxiety, frustration, sleepless nights, mental exhaustion. And what Japanese minimalists discovered is that the moment you release this illusion of control, a new kind of freedom shows up, one that no plan can ever give you. They trade over-planning for presence. They let go of control in favor of small, intentional choices. They would rather act with awareness in the present moment than waste their energy trying to predict all the possible futures, because they know the truth. Life only ever happens right now. Japanese minimalism isn't about rigidity, it's about harmony. It recognizes that the world moves in cycles, that nature changes, that the seasons come and go, and that peace doesn't come from control, it comes from acceptance. You can still plan, of course. You can organize your days, build healthy routines, but always with flexibility, with lightness, and with room for the unexpected. Because it's in that space that life truly blooms. By letting go of the illusion of total control, you make room for trust. Trust that you'll be able to handle whatever comes your way. Trust that life doesn't have to be perfect to be beautiful. And trust that simplicity isn't about managing every detail. It's about knowing what's worth holding onto and what's worth letting go. Habit 3. The overload of stimulation. We live in an age where everything glows, everything pings, everything vibrates. Notifications, sounds, lights, messages, appointments, deadlines. Every minute, something is trying to grab your attention. And without realizing it, you're slowly being consumed by a constant invisible noise. A noise that wears you down. The overload of stimulation has become so common that many have mistaken it for normal. But it's not normal to live in a constant state of alert. It's not normal to have a mind split between 1,000 open tabs, your body physically present, but your awareness miles away. The minimalist lifestyle understands that the mind needs silence to breathe. They create spaces where calm is sacred, where emptiness has value, where the environment reflects the inner peace they seek to cultivate. That's why they avoid visual clutter, useless objects, loud colors, too many screens. Because to them, every stimulus has a cost, and if you're constantly bombarded, you end up paying with your attention, your focus, and your peace. How many times have you found yourself jumping from app to app, from video to video, without even remembering why you picked up your phone in the first place? How many times have you tried to relax, but your mind was running too fast to slow down? This isn't about willpower, it's about saturation. It's about the simple truth that your brain, your mind, your body were never designed to live like this. The overload of stimulation hijacks your clarity, scatters your thoughts, and feeds your anxiety. And the Japanese understood something essential. To live more lightly, you must turn down the outer noise so you can finally hear what's going on inside you. That's why they choose calm environments. They avoid overly vibrant colors. They pick furniture with clean lines, soft lighting, clear walls, and the sounds of nature. They design quiet routines with intentional pauses and moments of reconnection. It's not about being extreme, it's about being intentional. Every stimulus that enters your life should be a conscious choice. And if it doesn't bring peace, it doesn't belong. By eliminating the overload of stimulation, you're not just clearing your surroundings, you're clearing space within yourself. And in that space, clearer ideas are born, emotions stabilize, and a deep sense of presence begins to emerge. Japanese minimalists don't seek emptiness for aesthetic reasons. They seek it because they know that it's within quiet space that real life begins to unfold. Habit 4. Talking more than listening. In a society where speaking loudly, often, and with authority is often mistaken for wisdom, They choose the opposite path, the path of active listening, quiet reflection, and deep respect for another person's time and presence. In Japan, silence isn't viewed as emptiness, it's seen as presence. Not speaking right away is a sign of attentiveness. Listening, without rushing, without formulating your reply while the other person is still talking, is considered a form of respect. Instead of competing for space in conversations, they're taught from a young age to observe with empathy, to absorb before reacting, to choose the right moment to contribute. Because when you speak constantly, you become a prisoner of your own voice, and you miss the truth that only silence can reveal. Anxious people often feel the need to fill every moment with words. They talk non-stop because they fear the emptiness. They're uneasy about what might arise in the stillness. But true listening is a powerful antidote to anxiety. When you slow your mind down enough to actually hear, when you choose to observe instead of react, something shifts inside. You begin to notice emotional nuances, depth behind intentions, meaning in the smallest details. And that doesn't just strengthen your relationships, it also brings more clarity to your own decisions. Japanese minimalists understand that the world is already crowded with competing voices, clashing opinions, and constant distractions. They prefer to cultivate relationships where speech has purpose and silence is an ally. By listening more and speaking less, you can conserve mental energy, strengthen your presence, and become someone others truly want to be around. Because there's a quiet wisdom that can only be heard when you choose to remain silent. And in that choice, you discover a new kind of communication, subtler, more human, more honest. Habit 5. Holding on out of emotional attachment. One of the most deeply rooted habits across many cultures, and also one of the hardest to break, is the tendency to hold on to things because of emotional attachment. Items that no longer serve any practical purpose but still take up physical and mental space because, in some way, they're tied to memories from the past. A torn t-shirt that reminds you of an unforgettable trip. A box of old letters no one reads anymore, but still carries the scent of a bygone era. Childhood toys, heirlooms passed down from relatives, gifts loaded with guilt disguised as affection. We hold on to it all under the illusion that by keeping the object, we can keep the emotion alive. But the truth is, this kind of holding on creates an invisible weight. Japanese minimalists see emotional attachment as one of the main obstacles to living a lighter, more conscious life. They believe that having too many objects tied to the past prevents the present from flowing clearly. After all, you can't fully live in the now when you're surrounded by stacked memories, on shelves, in drawers, sealed away in boxes. It's not about erasing your history, but honoring it without needing to imprison it in material things. In Japan, it's common to treat objects with respect until they've fulfilled their purpose. After that, they're discarded or donated with gratitude, almost as if silently thanking them for the role they played. This kind of mindful letting go is an emotional process. It's not just about tidying up. It means recognizing that the memories don't live in the objects. They live in you. That the person who gave you that gift already left their mark, whether you keep the item or not. That the phase of life that object represents has already shaped who you are, and it's that transformation that matters, not the keepsake collecting dust. When you begin to let go, you also begin to breathe easier. Spaces open up, and with them, so does your mind. Your surroundings become lighter, and so do your emotions. Letting go of the habit of holding on out of emotional attachment is an act of courage. It's choosing to live with only what's essential, and to carry in your heart what truly matters, without needing physical anchors. It's about turning every release into a quiet ritual of growth. Because when you free yourself from the weight of things, you make space for what's new, for a life that's simpler, fuller, and truly your own. Habit 6. Being a prisoner of urgency. We live in a world where everything needs to happen yesterday. Answer messages instantly, make quick decisions, produce non-stop, handle tasks at record speed. Modern life has addicted us to the feeling of urgency, as if every notification were an emergency, every task a race against the clock, and every unproductive minute a failure. But in the quiet of minimalist Japan, urgency has no place, because there, ancient wisdom teaches that not everything needs to be immediate, and that constantly rushing is the fastest way to lose yourself. The habit of being a prisoner of urgency robs us of presence. It keeps us stuck in what's next, the next step, the next meeting, the next reply. And in doing so, we forget to be fully here, now. The mind becomes scattered, the body tense, the spirit exhausted. It's a fragmented, anxious, and shallow existence. The Japanese break that cycle in the simplest way. By slowing down, they prioritize the quality of the action, not the speed. They teach that time should be an ally, not an enemy to defeat, that there's value in doing less and doing it well. In Japanese homes, everything invites you to pause. From the ritual of preparing tea with full attention to the intentional way objects are arranged, every gesture becomes an opportunity to reconnect. They don't rush to finish, they immerse themselves in the process. And it's in that slower pace that the mind finds clarity, the heart finds space, and the body aligns with the present moment. Because when urgency steps aside, awareness steps in. Breaking free from the habit of living in a constant state of urgency is, above all, a way to reclaim peace. It's saying no to unnecessary haste. It's choosing to focus on what truly matters. It's having the courage to slow down, even when the world keeps pushing you to run. It's finding your own rhythm in the middle of the chaos. A rhythm that supports you, that respects you, that allows you to be whole. Because living fully requires presence, and presence doesn't thrive where there's only pressure. Now take a moment and reflect. What habits are you ready to leave behind in this new phase of your life? Can you already imagine how your life might change once those habits are gone? Taking a moment to reflect on that can be both revealing and inspiring. To reaffirm your commitment to change, leave a comment below. I choose to live with simplicity and clarity. This is your first step toward a life that's fuller, calmer, and truly yours. See you in the next video.